From MontanaSports.com, this is MTN Sports Extra.
Hello and welcome to Sports Extra on a Saturday night. I'm Tom Wiley. Thanks for joining us. Well, so far so good for the Cats and the Grizz in the Big Sky Conference, with each team opening league play with wins on the road. And for the Montana Grizzlies, they exercised some demons, earning their first win on the red turf at Eastern Washington. Their reward, a Week 2 matchup with a tough Weber State team. MTN's Casey Conlon leads off our Big Sky coverage with highlights from Washington Grizzly Stadium.
Well, after the Montana Grizzlies combined for more than 100 points with Eastern Washington last week, the Grizz hoping it wouldn't necessarily be as close today back at home against Weber State. We pick it up, Weber down 2. Richie Munoz deep to Aileen record. He's got it even through the pass interference. 53 yards to the house. Wildcats up 37-33. Back come the Grizz in the red zone. Eli Gilman untouched. Grizz go for 2 and get it. Montana up 41-38. But guess what? Here come the Wildcats right back. Munoz on the slant. He's got his receiver, Trevin Gradney, misses the tackle. There's no one else. 71 yards to the house. Weber back up 45-41. Montana's turn. Back inside the red zone. Logan Fife to Keelan White. Huge day for him. Touchdown there puts the Grizz back up 3. Then Weber would get it within field goal range. In the final seconds, Kyle Thompson to send it to OT. Why not? 42 points combined in the fourth. As we go to overtime, Weber gets it first. Watch this. Munoz to Damon Bankston, forced out of bounds, but got back in time to catch it for the touchdown. Wildcats up 7, so the Grizz need to score to tie. Fife hit on his first play. Garrett Beck recovers, and that's the game. An incredible win by the Wildcats, 55-48 in overtime. Casey Conlon for MTN Sports.
Kyle Thompson with that 43-yard field goal to tie it after the Grizzlies tried to ice him. And that kid missed a field goal last weekend, and he had to come back and show his coach, I'm the guy, you can depend on me. Just your thoughts.
A game-winning kick. Yep. That's his job. That's what he does. He missed one last week. He made one this week to send the game into overtime. Skill and ability all over the place by both teams. Both of these teams better find some defense if they want a shot at the Big Sky Conference crown or make the playoffs.
Let's talk about Richie Munoz, the quarterback. What a day Richie Munoz had. He went 19 of 28 for 364 yards and 6 touchdowns. The young man, he's just a sophomore.
6 touchdowns. You know, everything you hear about this Washington Grizz Stadium, there he is there. And you think somebody's going to score 55 points against them. There's a back-to-back touchdown passes by Richie Munoz. And I think he missed one pass all day. And I mean, he was just on target. Tight man-to-man coverage right there. Because Weber has a good back and they run the ball pretty well, there was the game winner there.
Damon Bankston, that's the play where he was forced out of bounds, came back in.
Yeah.
Marty, let's talk about next week. How can the Grizz recover, and how can Weber State keep the momentum? Both teams have homecoming next week. Weber State goes back to Ogden. Montana hosts Northern Arizona here in Missoula.
And homecoming.
Right.
So everybody is going to be juiced. They're going to be juiced for this thing with the Lumberjacks from NAU coming in here. But the Grizz must find some ways to play a little defense. They don't have to be the Chicago Bears because their offense is so prolific, but they have to be able to stand up and stop a team and get some 3 and outs.
Pretty much the same story last week. This time, the Grizzlies end up a bit short, losing in overtime, but it was a great one. People will be talking about this for a long time, especially down there in Ogden.
A lopsided college football matchup on paper today with unbeaten Montana State hosting winless Northern Colorado. Bobcats have yet to lose a regular season home game under head coach Brent Vigen, now in his 4th year. Cats opening drive after an explosive Scott Trey Humphrey run. Tommy Mellott with a great play fake. Ryan Lonergan all alone in the end zone. 6-0 after the missed PAT. Now, from nearly the same spot, Mellott to Rohan Jones this time, and it's 13-0 Montana State. Second quarter, Cats dig into the bag of tricks. Watch this. The receiver handoff. Ty McCullough airs it out 34 yards to Taco Dowler. And then a little icing on the second quarter cake for Montana State. Malott keeps it around the right side. 27-0 MSU at the half, and the Bobcats run their record to 6-0. Scott Breen, MTN Sports.
Back here inside Bobcat Stadium, Ben Creighton, Ty Gregorak as Montana State takes down Northern Colorado 55-17 here on homecoming. And Ty, once again, the offense just clicking for the Bobcats, but they also got balance as well today.
It is balanced. I mean, any way you cut it, though, I mean, it's still 55 points and over 500 yards of offense. So some people in the Bobcat Nation would be like, oh, we're not running the ball very well. You're still running the ball really well. I mean, you can nitpick a lot of different things. This outfit is dominant. I mean, they've got a stable of running backs. Tommy's been sharp, 70% on the season, no interceptions. I mean, what else can you ask for? And oh, by the way, they're one of very few teams in the entire country right now that are still undefeated into October.
Yeah, getting it done. Coming into this one with five other teams, I should say, still undefeated in the FCS. How about that? That was the play of the game. Ty McCullough throwing a touchdown pass and now also receiving one as well from Tommy Malott.
Yeah, and obviously with a team that's really struggling and hasn't won a ball game, you really don't need to probably do the trick play other than to put it on film for other teams to be like, oh boy, they have this when they get into the, that 40-yard range. So again, Scott Trey Humphrey's been awesome. The offensive line's been awesome, having to constantly reshuffle. Sad to see Blake Schmidt not in the lineup. I hope he's okay going down the line, but looking at the stats there, a mostly dominant performance by the team from Bozeman.
Yeah, 278 passing yards to the Bobcats as opposed to 232 on the ground. And you saw Taco Dowler, great afternoon with 207 all-purpose yards, which included a pair of receiving TDs.
Yeah, Taco's been awesome, man. I mean, the guy is a very dynamic weapon. You've got some very dynamic weapons in the state of Montana, from the state of Montana. When you think about Junior Bergen from the Grizz and Taco Dowler from the same place in Billings, Montana. So it's going to be a fascinating final month and a half of Big Sky football, and there's going to be a lot of great games to watch and call for us, Ben.
And one big game next week right here at Bobcat Stadium as Montana State welcomes in Idaho. But today, Montana State wins 55-17 over Northern Colorado.
Still to come, busy day in the Frontier Conference. Montana Tech and Carroll College both at home for league games. We got highlights when Sports Extra continues.
MTN Sports Extra continues after this. Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by MontanaSports.com.
After a thrilling home win over Georgetown to open the season, the Montana Tech Ore Diggers played 3 straight games on the road. But a month later, the Diggers are back at Bob Green Field for a homecoming date with 7th-ranked Southern Oregon. MTN's Luke Shelton has more from the fields in the mighty city.
Hey everyone, Luke Shelton here in Butte, and it is good to be back at Bob Green Field as Montana Tech playing here for the first time since August. Now the number 16 Nordiggers facing a tall task today as they host 7th-ranked Southern Oregon, but if there's anything I've learned over the past few years, it's that all bets are off when Tech hosts a top 10 team. Let's get to those highlights. And case in point, opening kickoff, and there goes Levi Torgerson rocketing down the left sideline, and good luck catching him. He'll house it from 95 yards out, and the Ore Diggers go up 7-0 just 13 seconds into this game. But the Raiders with a weapon in running back Gunnar Yates, and he'll help SOU march downfield on their first drive and tie this game up. Now Tech facing 4th down, but a gutsy call as Blake Thielen with a strike to Logan Kennedy, and he'll go rumbling downfield and come up just shy of the goal line. And that'll set up this dart from Thielen to Derek Pierce, and the Ore Diggers retake the lead. Southern Oregon then ties the game on Yates' second touchdown of the day, but now Tech turning to its battering ram Lander Smith, and here he is picking up a first down. And now here's a nice catch and run from Thielen to Torgerson that put me right in the middle of the action and put Tech on the doorstep. Then a few plays later, Smith plowing his way across the goal line, and the Ore Diggers once again on top. On to the second half, and the Smith show continues as he rips off a 45-yard gain here, scores his second touchdown a few plays later, and the 16th ranked Ore Diggers go on to topple number 7 Southern Oregon 42-35 for their second top 10 victory at home this season. In Butte, Luke Shelton, MTN Sports.
Johnny Walker out here in Nelson Stadium, where Carroll College looks to stay undefeated in conference play, hosting MSU Northern. Short field for Carroll on their first drive, and it's Archie LaFeurge giving the Fighting Saints an early 7-0 lead. Lights take over now, and it's their run game shining early. Check out this tuck and tumble to flip the field. But for those of you wondering just how strong the wind was, well, here's Northern foregoing a 38-yard field goal in favor of this on 4th and 11. Carroll gets a field goal off the short field there, and we'll skip ahead to the ensuing Carroll possession where we got a big boy making big boy plays. That's 235 pounds of force flying down the middle of the field. Some misdirection on the handoff here for just a nice little gain. Oh no, that's Chris Akolshin breaking free and yelling, "Get off me!" as these lights are starting to look a whole lot dimmer. Saints up big here and still fighting. Folks, just sit back and watch the magic. And so it's Carroll College turning off the lights and winning their 4th game in a row. And for all of our Frontier Conference football coverage, make sure you're keeping up with us over at montanasports.com. Reporting in Nelson Stadium, Johnny Walker, MTN Sports.
Still to come, a clash of the Titans in the 6-man North, a big Saturday matchup in Power. That's next on Sports Extra.
MTN Sports Extra continues after this. Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by MontanaSports.com.
Well, the battle for a 6-man title has never been more wide open. Two of the state's best teams went head-to-head in Power this afternoon. MTN's Will Charlton has highlights from a top 10 matchup in the Northern Division.
It's homecoming here in Power as the 8th-ranked PDB Titans look to defend their home field against 4th-ranked CJI, a pair of teams looking to earn a big win in the 6-man North Division.
Explosive plays were the name of the game today for the CJI Hawks, and they wasted no time at all getting on the board. On the very first play from scrimmage, Nate Nelson gets in space and is gone from 52 yards out to give the Hawks an early 7-0 advantage. Next CJI drive, here's quarterback Ryland St. John finding Ryan Ramberg for a nice pickup. And then a handful of plays later, it's the Hawks with a 4th and short to go, and St. John will do the work himself for the score. This quickly then became a rout. Next time on offense, a huge play between St. John, who gets the pass off in the nick of time, to Levi Nelson, and he goes 42 yards for the score. And later on, it's Nate Nelson yet again with another big-time rush from midfield, and his 4 first-half touchdowns help lead the Hawks to a 53-6 win. Will Charlton, MTN Sports.
Friday night saw several meaningful contests across the state as we rapidly approach the postseason at all levels of high school football. MTN's Alec Boffinger has your roundup.
We've entered the final month of the high school football season, and games carrying greater weight as it winds down. We had some ranked matchups on the slate this weekend. Let's take a look. We start in Helena, where top-ranked Glacier had its hands full with Capital. The Wolfpack jumped out to a 14-0 lead over the Bruins, but Capital settled in and scored 35 unanswered points to hand number 1 Glacier its first loss of the season. In Billings, the West High Golden Bears remained unbeaten with a 36-17 win over Bozeman. West got a huge game from junior quarterback C.J. Johnson. Over 400 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, 2 of those going to Big Moose Ludwig. In Class A, Laurel pushed its record to 5-1 with a 38-17 win over visiting Glendive, thanks to a pair of first-half pick sixes like this from David Graves. Loco's only loss is to unbeaten Central. Third-ranked Jefferson had to grind one out at home over Columbus in Class B. Check this out. A sky-high punt barely escapes the end zone, and the Panthers pick it up and score. Much needed in a 17-12 victory. Number 4 Valley Christian flexed its muscles on the 8-man fields against 8th-ranked Sealy Swan. Blackhawks back to pass, but Nicholas Carvandi, there for the Eagles, takes it back for a Valley Christian score as they'd win it 55-12. Now make it 2 consecutive weeks that Bridger has knocked off a ranked 6-man team. The Scouts were led by a dominant performance from Gage Goltz as they went on the road and toppled Broadview Lavina 67-18, asserting themselves as a contender out of the South. Elsewhere around the state, how about the top-ranked team in 8-man rolling on? Defending champion Fairview holds off number 3 Circle to remain unbeaten, while the Lincoln Lynx sprung an upset on the 6-man fields, handing 5th-ranked Hot Springs a 20-point defeat. For more scores and highlights, visit montanasports.com.
Well, folks, our cameras will be on the sidelines all across Montana, and each Monday we'll count down the top 5 plays from across the state in our MTN Game Changers, but we can't be everywhere, so we need your help. If you see a play or moment you think we should see, send an email to scores@montanasports.com and tell us how to find the video, or tag us on social media. We'll consider including it in next week's edition of Game Changers. Still to come on Sports Extra, we'll head to Kalispell and Polson for the state's AA and Single A golf tournaments. Stay with us.
We'll be right back with more MTN Sports Extra. Welcome back to MTN Sports Extra, powered by MontanaSports.com.
Well, the first state champions of the fall sports season were crowned this weekend of the state AA and Single A golf tournaments. MTN's Derek Joseph takes us to the course as winners stepped off the 18th green.
It was an exciting weekend for state golf, and starting in Class A, for the girls, there was one key player to watch as Katie Lewis played for her 3rd straight title, and the golf she played set up that chance early with this great shot from the fairway bunker that gave her an easy 2-putt for par. Katie played consistent golf the entire day and finished 7 over, which resulted in another win for the senior from Frenchtown.
Yeah, no, it still feels like it did the first time, you know, because you put in the same amount of work every year, and just seeing it all pay off is just great.
On the boys' side, it was a close matchup, but Polson freshman Max Milton maintained the lead for the whole day with long drives and great approach shots. But things got close on 15 when this short putt lipped out and he settled for a bogey. However, Milton bounced back with a birdie on 17 and a par on 18 to finish 5 under on the tournament and take home his first state title.
I was super excited to win at my home course just in front of all of the people that support me. So it was fun to have them all out, and being able to win in front of them was pretty cool.
For state AA boys, it was Hudson Gorowski who hit a clutch birdie on 17 that set him up easily for the par on 18 to win by 1 stroke.
I grew up with a kid that won state his freshman year. I played with him a bunch, and it's just, he explained that feeling to me, and you don't quite realize it until you actually feel it yourself, and it's just unreal.
For the girls, it was a showdown between Hannah Boyd from Great Falls and Becca Washington from Billings Senior, who had to endure a 2-hole playoff during a sudden change of weather. Through the wind and the rain, Boyd sinks this long putt on the first playoff hole to force another. On the next hole, Boyd tries to put the pressure on Washington again, but the putt misses just left and she settles for a bogey, setting up Washington's walk-off par to win state at plus 11.
I mean, honestly, I think it made me take my time even more. I had to really think. I was like, okay, wind, rain coming in my face, like how do I play this out? But living in Montana, I played and stuff like that all the time, so I think I kind of knew the procedure of what I needed to do to get to the green and get by the hole to par that hole.
Reporting in Polson, I'm Derek Joseph, MTN Sports.
Well, that's all our time tonight for Sports Extra on a Saturday night. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, the conversation always continues at montanasports.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here next week for more Sports Extra.